Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday here from For the Love of Dragons. My name is Araya Onra, and I'm here to give you some inside information, lead you down the happy journey of working with the dragons. And I come on live every week, as many of you know. And I always like to introduce myself because every week we seem to have new members come in, find us, join the lair, and want to expand with the dragons, want to understand them. So this week I wanted to come in and share. There's so many different energies happening right now. And I know that a lot of people are focused on a lot of different things happening in their life and around the globe. And just to hold your space, hold your light. It's really, really important right now. And I put down in the details or the description that this is about the dragons in the sky. Understanding their presence. Maybe you've been seeing a lot more of them lately, depending on where you are. And I brought this in today because I got a message yesterday from a friend up in the northwest of the United States, in an area where there's been a lot of turmoil and chaos, more so than other parts of the United States in the last months. And their comment to me, or question to me, was I needed to reach out because I have been seeing not just one or two, not just a couple dragons in the sky. The sky is full and it's on a continuous basis. And I thought, you know, I need to understand what's going on with this. Why is this happening? Why are there so many? And you would be the lady to know to help me understand it. And so I thought, you know, that's an interesting point that I bet a lot of people would benefit from hearing, to discussing and asking questions about. And over the last 3 years, I would say we've had more and more presence of dragons in the sky. They've been really interacting more as some of the veils have started to thin and drop. And so starting with the event in March of 2019, that was when we first started noticing a lot more activity in the skies, a lot more presence energetically of not just the dragons, but Phoenix coming in, many people seeing what they perceive to be ships in the clouds, and knowing that at that point there was a big wave of energy that came in that was leading us into where we're at now. And so understanding that and feeling the need to look to the skies, to realize how much support we have. And the Legions of Light were called out last year. They were in full presence. They have been. They've been aware because they operate outside of time, of sitting within a spectrum around our time frame, where it's sort of like hovering over, and they blanket around this pocket that is what we are in. And the Legions of Light were called in because we're in a great shift. There's a lot happening. So when we start to understand and see, and there's a great, if you haven't been seeing them or you're not sure how to see them, one of the online courses that I released in December is Planetary Healing with the Dragons. And it was a mini class that I did a year ago, January. And I fixed the recording in a way that anybody can watch it. They don't have to have been part of that class, and whoever was part of that class isn't on the recording itself. But the information is very valuable, and it's about understanding and recognizing them in the landscapes, in the mountains, in the water systems, in the skies. And I want to help you understand, one, how or why you're seeing them and what they're trying to indicate when they're there. So the fact that my friend was asking, you know, why are there so many? There's just this massive conglomeration, and there might be other times where you see one or two. And in my experience, typically when there are one or two, they are trying to get your attention. I've actually been on a walk before where I was rounding up a hill, and the sky was absolutely crystal clear. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. And I was walking, and my back was sort of towards the sun, and I wasn't really looking at the sky. And as I came around, something said, "Look up." And as I looked up, I watched literally for 3 to 5 minutes, this cloud formed, this ability to use the mist and shape, and it was a dragon head, and he was communicating directly with me and wanted to get my attention about something. And as soon as I felt that heart communication, I knew that the cloud would dissipate then. And again, it did. Within another 2 or 3 minutes, it was gone. It just absolutely vaporized. And so there was no weather pattern, there was nothing going on. It was a manifestation. And so when the dragons are using the clouds to show themselves, which is what they will typically do. They are masters at using the elements, right? They are higher level beings. They know how to manipulate matter. And so they are coming in flight from whatever dimensional space they are, and they're using the elements around us to actually enhance their visual to be able to connect and communicate with us. So know that that's what's happening. So if you're only seeing one or two, they probably have a distinct message for you, or they're letting you, like, might be pointing to something, giving you an indicator of something. My impression when there's more than that, and there have been times when in the last 6 months or so especially, but in the last 2 years, there have been lots and lots in the sky. And I live in Reno, Nevada, and when I see masses of them, and I have friends, a lot of friends in Reno that are aware of the dragons, and they will text and let me know, like, did you see this? Or they post something, I'm like, oh my goodness, they got the same photo. I have great photos of ships as well in the clouds coming in formation, radically different than the rest of the clouds in the sky. Again, using that as like a cloaking technique to, not freak people out. I never thought it was real until I actually had a UFO experience in Sedona, Arizona, and got photographs and was able to see the light changing and the communication, and then hyperspace disappearance. It was actually amazing and really shifted my perception about that. I'd always had a belief, or I guess not a disbelief, because the universe is so massive. How could they not exist, right? And then I had my first actual physical evidence. So now I'm a lot more aware. But as you start seeing those massive numbers of dragon in the sky, pay attention, because they are gathering for a purpose. They are gathering for protection. They are gathering for holding a space of a specific frequency around an area. It might be an area that's having a lot more activity or needs a little bit more light projected into it because of the level of darker energies that are surfacing or trying to manipulate or control something. And so that's sort of like a confirmation, if you recognize them, of giving you a peace inside of knowing we're not alone, there is assistance, and that I can rely on and go to. The dragons can be my go-to as a protection, as a set of information as to who to tap into and where to seek my guidance for my information. That if it's the dragons showing up, you might need to go and sit with the dragons in meditation and get that clarity. Say, why am I seeing so many of you? I need some clarity on that. Help me understand it. Or when you're standing there looking at the sky, just ask for that. And you'll have a heart knowing. Something will come in, maybe a keyword. Might be trust. For some reason, the word trust is coming in right now. And really, we're in a space right now of trust. We have massive, massive undertakings happening with energetic shifts in the planet. And we have entered a zone where the next 2 years plus are about restructuring, about moving into, and you might be starting to feel that in your own life, of seeing things on the horizon that you want to shift towards, or bring something new in, or rewrite how you're doing things right now, maybe in your business, maybe in your personal life. But all of those things are important, and I know that these energies have been very important. I've been eager to get the Oracle deck out. We've talked lots about the Dragon Oracle deck, and I have had it on my plate for a long time. I had the artwork being worked on last year, and I really thought that in tandem with that, I would be having or making the time to bring the actual text that goes with each card, the little booklet, and all the information that will give insight as to why you pulled that card. Never was right, and I was frustrated with it. And it's that lesson in really surrendering to your higher knowing, surrendering to the higher path of how things unfold, instead of pushing, controlling, or manipulating it and needing it to be a certain way. That as I trusted and surrendered, as we shifted into the new energies in January, I got absolute clarity. And they say, 2020 is hindsight is 2020, right? Of being able to look back at the year, and the energies that we were in for all of 2020 was about that final breaking apart, of collapsing the timelines, of shifting so many systems into where they need to be in order to shift forward, to be restructured. And I realized that I was finally getting the impetus. I was finally getting not just space in my schedule, but the desire really of the knowing of what it needed to look like, how they need to come through. And so as I've been sitting, and I think I missed a live, I can't remember now if it was a week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that I actually said, wow, I'm not doing a live today because I was in that space in my heart of I needed to deep dive into bringing the beginnings of the Oracle deck through for the text. And that was super exciting because I finally realized the importance of aligning. I've known the importance of aligning to the energies, but I was able to look back and recognize that the deck and the power that it's meant to have and hold for those that are going to use it needed to be built and structured within the energies of this new, within the energies after we entered the age of Aquarius, after we entered this new cycle of really setting up the restructure, really setting up where we're going to head into the new earth, into the fifth dimensional framework. And if I had done it before, it would have had a very different energetic foundation being founded and created in 2020, that now I'm able to bring it into a whole new aspect. And it's beautiful because as I'm working with it, it's flowing so easily and beautifully and different than I even brought the book through in 2007. It's coming in spurts, and instead of pushing and forcing the next set, I'm okay with that timing. I let it be what it needs to be because that's really how we operate now. We're moving into this place of you have to let it flow, and you have to let it flow from your heart. Because when you're aligned into your heart space, you're aligned into your highest self. You are moving into that merge with your light body, and you're allowing yourself to sit within that fifth dimensional space that is calm knowing, that is trust, surrendered trust, that is the place of everything being made manifest that is within your heart space, that is your own creation and abundance and gift to this plane, that it all starts to flow from that place. So this being a gift from my heart to this plane of bringing that Oracle deck through is a perfect example of let it be in its right timing, and allow when it's not lining up to be able to get to that point where you can look back and see very clearly why it wasn't lining up, to get the insight and the knowing. So I'm seeing a lot of new faces on the call here today. It's very nice to see all of those and to know that my dragon family is continuously expanding. I will share with you all that the book club, if you are new to the group or you've been wanting to do it for a while and it hasn't been the right timing, the Dragon Within book club is hands down the best way to dive in to get all your questions answered from a dragon directly from the author of the book. It's not focused on the book, but we call it a book club because it's an easy format to envision a 2-hour meeting every week for 6 weeks. What it does is bring on a lot of transformation very, very rapidly. And in that 6 weeks, because we have meditations with new dragons every week that are based on the group sphere, which adds exponential energy, it's pretty amazing how quickly things start to shift and people are, wow, this is so much more than a book club, is the big standard tagline joke amongst us. And I believe I have 6 spaces left in that right now. It's 2 weeks from Thursday that we start. So if you've been wanting information, definitely send me a message or an email, and I will get you that information you need to get registration. It's also down in the posts. I've been posting about it a few times. And that the programs excite me. The programs are really what I get to see, the direct expansion with everybody. And I'm beyond excited that today is actually the first day of class for the new group of Dragon Hearts for this year. We have our first half. It's starting for 4 months now through May. And it's a powerhouse group that's come together. And what I get excited about, not just knowing that their lives are going to change dramatically, but to look back now on the 3 years that have completed and see what each group came together for. And there's some of you watching out here that are thinking, yeah, that's sort of pulling me. There's something in my heart saying, wow, what is that Way of the Dragon Heart program? Or the Eye of the Dragon, that's hitting a chord in me. And knowing that it might be your time for next year. That there's those that have waited a year or two to get into the program. And it's very interesting for me to look back and see the perfection of that. And when the group comes together, there's a dynamic that is almost like a soul contract that drew them in, that brings about this incredible unfolding into actually like a group mission or purpose that is driven within the group over the time together. And so we have our first meeting today. I'm very excited about that. And those are big tools. Not everybody's ready for big tools. And if you go to the site, you'll see so many tools available to get you in touch and in sync with the dragon energies. You might notice that I'm wearing one of the labradorite pendants. This one is particularly mine, so I always wear it because it holds a really supportive, it's like a foundation energy. It just really pulls me into myself, and it feels very protective. But when I went to ask the pendants and the dragons who wanted to come out and be shown today, because these are another way to have a tool to bring specific energies around you, one of these might be calling you, and this is the opalite. There's an opalite dragon, and charoite, which is a beautiful purple stone that drew me because I love purple. But I know that there's properties within the stones and with the dragons that are associated with them that hold particular resonance for someone out there. And I know that each one that comes through the lair, because it's going to get a transmission from me on its way to its rightful owner, whoever's meant to adopt that one, that they're meant for someone in particular, and it might be you, and it might be drawing you. And so there's something about who's watching this or going to see the replay that needed to see the charoite and the opalite, or at least just feel that stream of energy coming through, because they do bring that gift, and that does come through in these lives to bring that transmission to you. So where we're at right now is paying attention to the skies in particular, to see and feel the legions of light, to see and feel the many, many dragons that are very present. And I can look out at my skies right now in Reno, and there's nothing. It's actual perfect blue sky. Does that mean there won't be a dragon in it later, or if I go outside again, like I did on my walk that I told a little story about? It could be if they have a message for me in that way. But there are areas of the world right now that have massive amounts of light and beings that are there to protect and hold a space. And so if you notice that in your skies, just know, all right, I can stay calm, I can stay assured and peaceful and hold my light, because the world needs our light right now. This is the biggest thing that we can do for the planet right now as we go through this massive shift, is to hold your presence, hold your light, and your ability to stay closer to that fifth dimensional spectrum, that paradigm of peace, harmony, community that we are moving towards, and just allow it to be in your framework, allow it to be in your intention. We are massive creators with our intention, and we do in fact create our reality. So what do you want to bring in? And maybe you want to see a field of dragons in your sky, and maybe you can invite that and say, look, I want to experience a dragon in the sky. Right, Savior guides can arrange or do that, that they can go and bring that about for you to see that. And again, if you struggle with that, if you want to know how to recognize them, what to do with them when you do find them in the woods, in the land, in the mountains, in the rivers, that planetary healing with the dragons is a great starting point for that. And or the book club. I would say diving into the book club brings about such amazing discussions that are far beyond just the book, far beyond just the dragons, but everything comes in a way that it relates back to the dragons. And there's so many tendrils and aspects of our journey that link back into the dragons. So that's always fun and always amazing to meet with a book club every week and just see what pops in, what discussions come up, because I never know what to expect. I'll be totally honest that there have been brand new dragons that I've never worked with before, new streams of energy and frequency that have presented in book club. And I think that's awesome, because that just means there's a bunch of people coming together that are able to receive and are ready for those frequencies, or connected in a family line, some kind of dragon lineage that maybe I haven't had come towards me yet, and because of their presence, boom, then it can come in, and that's always super exciting. So I'm going to wish you guys a fabulous day and a fabulous week. Just watch. There's big things unfolding over this week, and just hold your space, hold your light, and stay in your hearts, because that is really, really what we're here for. All right. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Much love to you, and feel free to share this out to whoever you think would benefit from knowing what's going on in their skies. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.